All right, it's going.
Righty. There we go. Looks like we're all live on YouTube. I want to thank everyone for joining us this evening. This is a very special meeting of the board for Thursday, May 28th. If someone can please call us to order so we can then run the roll call. Can we have a motion to get the meeting started for roll call? Oh, you know what, Mimi, you're
Yeah,
on
you
mute.
usually just call roll and then we.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't wonder what's happening with the mute. Go ahead. If you can just call roll, please. And Ray is coming. He's trying to get in.
Okay. Mrs. Gator,
Yes.
Mrs. Moomin,
Yes.
Mr. Roberts,
Present.
Mr. Freeman is coming on, and Miss Mitchell.
Yes, thank you. And sorry about that, board. I got too many things going on my desk right now. Let me turn the board meeting off on my phone. All righty. So we were coming together this evening to go into executive session, but as a result of a message that we received from a community member, we're going to open initially with a superintendent's update. And before we go there, I just wanted to remind the community that House Bill 197 was passed in mid-March of this year, and it enables school boards to either forego public participation or allow other modalities of receiving public comments to be shared at board meetings during the COVID-19 pandemic. Excuse me. At the opening of our first virtual meeting on April 1st, we noted that community members wishing to share their thoughts and comments with the board could do so by sending an email to our superintendent, Donald J. Jolly, enabling those comments to be read publicly during a public board meeting. On yesterday, we received our very first public participation comment from Mayor Michael L. Booker via email. Normally, we would read the individual's addresses, but because of his role, I will not read his address publicly, but at this time, I will read the statement that he sent the board. WHCSD school board members, let me start by saying I have the utmost respect for this board and the work that has been done in our district over the last 3 years. I was very honored to serve on the Strategic Planning Committee in 2017. That room was full of energy and ideas that would take our schools to the next level. I think now we're seeing the benefits of that diverse group of people. I was just as honored when I was asked to be part of the naming committee for a new school. However, that committee somehow dissolved without notice to the members or the community, which brings me to the reason for addressing you today. I've been told the name Warrensville Heights Elementary School was chosen by the board. I speak for many people in this community when I say that we missed a tremendous opportunity here. We had the opportunity to inspire and keep the momentum of our community going by naming our schools something far more meaningful. Everything in our committee is a name after an 18th century pioneer that has very little significance to anyone in this community today. The people of this community think we should have and still should be involved in this decision. We have people that are very worthy of this honor, but I was told that the board said the school could not be named after anyone that was currently living. We do not believe this is a community-driven decision and one of a personal nature. Cleveland named a school after former Mayor Mike White. Maple Heights named a school after our 44th president, Barack Obama. And Eva Lorraine named a school after award-winning author Toni Morrison. Those names inspire a community. They inspire a child to say, no matter what the circumstances, I can achieve great things. We have names like that in our community as well, like Congresswoman Marsha L. Fudge. She was given so much of herself to this community and continues to do so daily. God willing, I want her to live a long and prosperous life. However, imagine what her legacy will be in the end. Think about how many things will be named after her to immortalize her when she leaves this earth. We should have been the first. How about Mayor Bradley D. Sellers? His name, his presence, and his story inspire our kids to be more than just an athlete. Our 2020 valedictorian wants to be mayor. There's a reason for that. I could go on and on with names like Fanny Dean or Ed Chambers, but you get my point. We believe our school name should be the brand that we are building. Millennials want the what and the why. They want to see it and touch it. This is the opportunity we have, and we should explore it because we may never get another opportunity like this in our lifetime. There's no history, no landmarks, nothing to show progress or who or what we are. Everyone knows my passion for this community, but my passion comes from the people of this community that molded me. A name of substance means something to the people. I've been the mayor of Highland Hills a very short time, and I take every opportunity I can to thank the people that built this community. We just named our little community center after former Randallwood principal and 26-year council member, Patty Patricia DeBerry, who lives in South Carolina now. But that does not change what she did for the community, and we never want this community to forget her. I do not know what happened with the naming committee or the community involvement in this process, but for a $100 million investment, we should have done a better job. My question to you is, what can we do about it at this point? He further emailed the board to share additional thoughts about the naming rooms versus naming the school, and had a question about our district policy 7250 in response to an email that we sent back to him. He goes on to say, this conversation is not just me, it's a community conversation that should not be taken lightly and will not go away soon. They do not want the school name to be Warrensville Elementary. I am not trying to be a disruptive voice. I am just the messenger for many people in the Tri-Cities that feel the way I feel about this. Thank you. So at that, I just want to remind the board, as we normally would with our public participation, we do give each community member 3 minutes to speak. We are in a new environment right now, so that speaking is being done through the reading of what they shared. And normally in a board meeting, we would make the decision in that moment to or not to respond to what's been shared via public participation. But this time, due to the tone and tenor of the message, Mr. Jolly felt it important to respond to this particular comment. Mr. Jolly. Are you on mute?
Yeah, so I appreciate that. I just want to go over how the process went. We did form the my internet. Hold on 1 second. Okay, is that better?
Yep.
Yeah, my internet was going out. Can you hear me now still?
We sure can.
Yes.
I'm freezing.
Yeah, I think there's been something going on.
Yeah, my screen is freezing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Crazy.
Go ahead,
so
Mr.
we
Jolly.
started. Yeah, so we started the process, I believe, last summer, where we formed the committee. Mayor Booker, other board members were on the committee. We had a couple people. We took some names and so forth. Had our meeting, and then kind of as election season came, we did not meet again as election season came. And then the first of the year, things happened, and so forth. So we got to a deadline where we needed a name for the school, for them to purchase the letters and things for the school. And that's when I came to the board and made my recommendation, just due to feedback I received in conversating with various different community members and people, that it would be very difficult for us to come up with the name. Plus the board policy states that it has to be a person who doesn't work for the district or a person who is deceased. So at that point, the cleanest recommendation I could bring was to just name it Warrensville Heights Elementary School. Because in any name that we mentioned or anything that we mentioned, there was always opposition. And that's outside of the committee, because the committee really didn't have a deep, detailed dive into names. That's outside of the committee, but just in conversations and conversating on that, and that's why I brought that recommendation that Warrensville Heights Elementary School should be the name, and that we name different parts of the building after significant people in the community who make significant contributions to the district. With that, I hear Mayor Booker, I don't know, some other, I'm at the mercy of the board. I think that we can do whatever we need to do to ensure that we get a proper name. I do know that process would be it's going to be tough. And how do we come up with a consensus in this process of a name of the school? We can have a committee. It's going to be, and I'm open to taking suggestions from students. We can pare the names down, have a small committee look at the names, and then bring the names to the board. If that's what the board wants to do, to open it back up. But the consistent, from my perspective, the cleanest way to go about this work is simply just call it Warrensville Heights Elementary School without us infringing or offending anybody who feels strongly about their name being on that building or someone's name on that building. I've heard people came to me already. They want different people in the community's name on it already. I've heard Fanny Dean's name. I know that was in Mayor Booker, but outside of this group, or Mayor Booker, Fanny Dean, Ed Chambers, Marshall Fudge. I've heard at least 10 different names over this course of time. So again, I still support the Warrensville Heights Elementary School. That's still my recommendation, but at the board's will, at discretion, I would take whatever steps necessary to bring other names to the board and talk to our construction team to do as necessary if the board elects to go in a different direction. But I know the process will be tedious and political, whatever way the board decides to go. So at this time, we can have an abbreviated process, one in which we can still work with our construction team, and if the board elects to go in a different way, or we can stay the course. I will make it happen. That concludes what I wanted to report, but I just wanted to go through the process and just share the process. The political aspects of this is why my recommendation is there, and it's just hard. My computer keep going up. My internet is unstable. I'm sorry.
That's
Hello?
okay. We understand.
Yeah, it's unstable. So, I know there's some concern. Some questions. I'm open to any question, and let's talk through it and get to a consensus. That's my hope for this conversation.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Jolly. We're going to manage this conversation in a very orderly manner.
Mm-hmm.
I will go to each school board member and receive input. And I will go last. So I'll start to my right, which is Mimi. So if you would state your thoughts, comments, but you're on mute.
So I understand the reason, we took the path that we took. I'm wondering if there's a way to make it clear to everybody that one of the things that we really want to do is to assign particular rooms or areas within the schools, name it after somebody that way. It's not like we're ignoring the community. We still have an opportunity to honor different people based on their involvement at the elementary school. So I personally am okay with it. I understand the political concerns, and I understand Mayor Booker's concerns. If this was something that we decided to look at again, we would have to take a look at the policy. We'd have to redo the policy. I mean, there's quite a few considerations that would need to be made. And I'm not sure that we have the time, I guess is the way to say it, because I know we've already made the signs. So that's my thoughts.
Okay, thank you. Barbara, you will be next.
Actually, I like the Warrensville Elementary School. And the reason why I'm going to say that is because we're a community that are proud of our school, Warrensville. If I name my school something else, how would we know that it's in Warrensville? How would we know that if we don't put it out that this is Warrensville Elementary School? Now I'm like me, we can delegate a building to someone else, Marja Foot, I don't particularly care. If we can delegate, point out a building and name that building somebody.
Are you
But
saying building or room, Miss Barbara?
I'm saying, if we want to name the science building after someone, that's fine. But to take away the identity of a community, and that's what we would be doing, taking away the identity of the community. If you look at Beechwood, you got Beechwood High School, Beechwood Middle School, Beechwood Shaker Middle School. You know exactly what community is in. If we take away Warrensville, we taking away our identity as who we are as a community. We are proud of our school. I want them to see the school name after the community at which it exists.
Thank you. Earl?
Good evening, everyone. I actually have a couple questions for Mr. Jolly. One, let's say hypothetically we were to open it back up, to go in the name. In talking to the construction company, will we know exactly, okay, it would have to be done by X day to have that name up on the school by the time they open? You're on mute, Mr. Jolly.
I did talk to them today, and I'm not sure how much time we have, but we still have some additional time to get them the letters because they're not put up yet. So
Okay.
None is
All right,
up yet, and they're not anticipated to be up for a few more weeks. So we have time.
Okay.
And I think I can minimize the cost if there's a change, long as there's not an extreme change in letters or so, you know what I'm saying? Like
that was going to be,
right.
You anticipate, that was question number 2. It was going to be, well, how much would it cost? Because I think I may be of the mind, and I'll caveat this with, when we brought up the Warrensville Elementary School, I voted in favor of it. So I just, I don't want to say what I'm saying to be like, oh, he's being hypocritical, contradictory to what he's already voted on. But I do see value in giving the school a name. To me, it doesn't necessarily have to be a person. It could be a location. It could be it could be a noun that has some type of purpose or meaning behind it. And I'm thinking, no matter what we did, because I really felt what Ms. Barbara said, it would still be in Warrensville. I was thinking like, when she said that, I was thinking like Bedford, Heskett, and those type of things where they have, the name of the community and then the name of the school as well. So if it were to come to that, I would say I would not be against opening back up, see if we could come up with a name for the school. I remember when I was younger, I would, used to play basketball. I was, hey, I'm gonna go up to Randallwood, or I'm going to Eastwood to play ball. So, giving the next generation that same opportunity to say, like, instead of like, hey, I'm going up to the elementary school, just having that name, having that identity. So, I mean, I would not be against if we did something exploratory to open it back up to see if we could come up with the name, or that exploration might end up right back at the name that we have now. But I wouldn't be against opening it up to get some ideas and some input if we could do that in a fast fashion, and we not have to have it right now. And that's all I have.
Thank you so much, Ray. You're on mute. There you go.
Thank you, Madam Chair. When Superintendent Jolly brought this recommendation to us as a board, I thought we were all in one accord that that would be the best way. I have talked to 3 people who think the school should be named after them. And I talked to their families, and they feel, you know, you can justify whatever they feel. They want the school named after them. So to be out of the political aspect as a school board, to name it for our scholars, our children, the naming of the building, to me, just to me, has no pertinent meaning to make a child learn better. Like, you can call it whatever, Inspiration Academy, whatever, ABC school, but the children that we have in our district, that Superintendent Jolly manages with his staff and his great educators, it doesn't matter what the school is named, but is there people out there, like Mayor Booker said, that, yeah, they want it named after them? Do they feel they should? But like Mimi said, you got to look at the body of a work of someone that's been living in this city, who's actually contributed to education. I could call it Barbara Muehlman School. Let's call it Barbara. You could call it whatever you want. But I thought when we talked and we had that discussion in March from a superintendent, we were clear as a board that that's the direction that we were going. I've been in these construction meetings, and me and Mr. Jolly been 3 times a month. And I mean, we could change it, you know, just like Mr. Roberts said, and we can explore it if you guys want. But my opinion, I'm with my superintendent. I think it should be called Warrensville, and I agree with Barbara. That's just my opinion, Madam Chair, because we're not changing stuff, because when we had these meetings and we talked to Steve Zanoni, a lot of these people didn't come. They didn't come. They didn't come to the high school when we had 6 meetings, 6 of them. Now, all of a sudden, we get into closing, we almost about 90%. And now, oh, I want to say this, I want to say that. That's fine. And we can have a community engagement. But in my opinion, and my superintendent, we should just name it Warrensville. That's where it sits. That's where it's at. And we go name it something, and somebody's going to be upset. Because those 3 families, the daughters, the wives, they think it should be named after their father. Who am I to say?
Right. Thank you so much, Vice President. I wanted to go last because I wanted to hear what everyone had to say. I am always going to ensure that we have a voice before we go into any of our votes. Each person has the opportunity to state their concerns, questions, or what have you. And so from my perspective, we have that opportunity before we put a vote on the floor after the motion is made, which is what we did on March 4th. There was a unanimous vote. One of the things that concerns me at this late period of time is cost. I know we've got the signage, the lettering that will go physically on the building, but what folks are forgetting is the monument sign, which is fully electronic. The school name goes on that, and I know that's a tune of about $30,000 to $40,000. That if we have to make changes to that sign, who's going to absorb that cost? That's significant, and I don't believe it's a cost that the district should be challenged to absorb. Again, my opinion. I firmly believe and agree with Ms. Barbara. Other communities do name their schools after, excuse me, their areas. Green Public Schools, they name their schools after Green. That's down near Akron. Warrensville, it may be an 18th century name. I can't tell you who we're named after, but it's a name that many of us have grown up here with pride. You say Warrensville, and Warrensville has always had a strong sense of pride in the community from yesteryear all the way to 2020. And with the prominence that we've been able to see this district experience through the very hard work of this board and Mr. Jolly and his team, we have put Warrensville back on the map as a viable school district in Ohio and nationally. So I struggle, because I am in agreement with Mr. Freeman. We have had numerous meetings where people have had an opportunity to come share their thoughts, share their comments, even before, this is May 28th. Even before then, the name of the school has been shared well before this. So the fact that, was it October, we're to get the keys?
Yeah, October, we get the keys
Yeah, so I
October
mean,
30th, 31st.
timing is real interesting right now. And my concern is just like everyone else that stated, highly political to choose one name over another. I
Right.
think we have an amazing opportunity to echo what Mimi and Ms. Barber said, to name wings or build, I'm sorry, rooms after certain people. For example, Mr. Chambers, we associate him with science and engineering,
Right.
science area. Michelle Obama was one of the names mentioned in a second communication from the mayor. She is very well known for academics and literacy. We can call the library behind her. We have the opportunity to pay homage to our culture, our people of prominence within that building in a way that could be more significant than a name on the building. Imagine walking into a library named Michelle Obama Study Center, whatever. And because I know that we've talked as a district of ensuring that we've got really significant and powerful graphics on the wall, imagine graphics that illustrate and demonstrate things that she's been doing since she was first lady with her literacy programs, and she's continuing to do since they're out of the White House. So I do feel strongly, like other board members have stated, that we can make a powerful impact naming some of our rooms, some of our wings after prominent people in the community. I am not one for going back and rescinding the vote and taking the name and changing it to something else. So Dr. Rock, I didn't know you are part of this board team. I didn't know if you wanted to share anything, your thoughts.
I just wanted to add that by doing it that way and naming sections of the building and prominent rooms and wings, now you get to use a lot more names and recognize a lot more people instead of just one person. So it gives you a better opportunity to recognize more of our stakeholders in the school community.
Thank you. That's a good point.
So, again, whatever the will of the board is, I'm open. I can work with Kayla. If the board wants me to just go out and we could open a window up on our internet, like, we always, advertise and just say any interest in, we could put something out there and have people fill out a Google form, and we can do that if the board wants to. We promote well. We reach probably over 4,000 or 5,000 people or more. Whenever we post anything, we could get some additional names if the board would like to hear some. I'm just open to whatever you guys want to do to make this to whatever the process is going to be. I just need direction on what the direction you want me to do.
Understood. I'll start abstain, same path, Mimi.
So if we're gonna go that route, Mr. Jolly, I'm thinking what it sounds like to me, the majority is saying we want to keep the name as Warrensville Heights Elementary School. So if you want to go down that path, then my opinion is we should go down that path towards cafeteria, science room, things like that, and see if there's different names that people would want. Tracy brought up a good point, as well as Barbara. I mean, everybody did. We made a decision. Yeah, we have the opportunity to go back and rescind it, but is that something that we really want to do? The school, John Dewey was John Dewey once before. Eastwood, we really haven't gone down this path before, other than with the high school and the middle school. So I think we're charting our own path by saying Warrensville Heights Elementary, Warrensville Heights High School, middle school.
Yep, you made a good point. We started earlier, and I forgot to mention it. We started revising our nomenclature our commemoration policy, and we never finished vetting that out. And I think this is a perfect opportunity, once we make final comments about this, to finish rebuilding that policy so that if anybody brings it up that we need to change the name of Warrensville Heights High and Middle School, we've got policy firmly in place stating the do's and the don'ts of how we will select names or even interior names and signage for any of the new buildings.
Yep.
I didn't mean to go out of place. Barbara, I think you were very clear, keep the name, correct?
Pardon me?
You
Oh,
were
yeah.
very clear, keep the name, okay.
Oh, yes, I'm very clear. Keep the name.
Yes, ma'am. And then Earl, you are open to another.
Yes, I am. And a question comes to mind. Would giving the building a name preclude us from naming wings and areas and rooms after other individuals? I mean, if we gave the building one name, would we then be unable to honor individuals with naming the science wing after someone or the library after someone else?
I would say no, don't think so at all. I think that's our call, but I don't think so. That would be a no answer because it's something that we've talked about since the building has been discussed.
Right.
Is that
and I got a little confused. Okay, when Mr. Jolly was speaking on the finances, he used the word like minimal. And then when you said about the signage, you was like $30,000 to $40,000. I mean, is that what we were calling? Is that what we were calling? Okay.
It's two signs. I said the monument sign. That's the big sign that sits in the front of the building. That's got the school name. It's electronic.
Uh-huh.
So that's why that cost is so hefty. The other name that the other sign that Mr. Jolly said is minimal, it is minimal. It's the physical letters that go on the building, which is why on March 4th, we had to make a decision because the architects and the construction team was pushing on a final decision so they could begin to fabricate those letters.
Okay. So has the electronic
Yeah.
sign already been programmed, and that's where the money would come into to put something different there?
I haven't been in those meetings. I don't know where they are with that sign.
Yeah, not that I'm aware of at this point. Today I followed up on the letter part of it. I will follow up on the monument sign and see where we are on that. But that cost that Ms. Mitchell did state is the monument sign, the cost of it. So I will follow up on where they are in that process.
How
I
far
know
we're
with the
down that
letters.
path?
Yeah, on the letters, I was told as long as we have the same amount of letters, they just gonna check. They can change out the letters. So
Exactly.
Right.
Okay.
And
that's all I have.
Madam Chair, just one quick comment to Brother Roberts. All of the money is allocated. So like Superintendent Jolly said, when you sit in those meetings, all of the money for every nook and cranny is allocated.
Right.
So like Madam Chair said, if we go to look at it or Superintendent talk to the actual construction crew, Affinity, they can give a price, but the money that we have allocated for Warrensville Heights Elementary, that's already allocated. That money's in their budget.
Thank you.
You're
So
welcome.
right from your earlier comments, are we safe to say you are a firm no on changing the name?
Yeah, I'm a firm no. I want it to be Warrensville Heights. I mean, that's where it's located at. That's where it is. I think the ideal, like Superintendent Jolly brought to us, for those 3 families that want their dad to be named in this equation, they may be part of the room naming. I don't know. I mean, I think it need to be vetted out for those names for those rooms. But I'm with Miss Barber. I mean, I'll look at somebody's body of work. What have you done for Warrensville? What do you do? It ain't Johnny come lately, or they just, oh, this person. You got to show me what you did to help these kids past years. Like Mr. Jolly said, our policies show it. If you were deaf, then yeah, we can look at that. But I'm looking at the body of a work of an individual. I'm not giving names just to give it names because I like you. I want to see what you did to help these children in Warrensville Heights. What did you do to promote them? What did you do to put them on a national front? So I'm a no as far as changing the outside building from Warrensville Elementary.
I want to thank everyone for their comments. Mr. Jolly, I want to thank you for the extra footwork you spent today, gaining more information. It sounds like the board is firmly saying we're going to stay with the name. I'm watching the head shake. Yeah, we're going to stay with the name Warrensville Heights, and then we will work together to do as we initially said and look at the different rooms in the new building and name them after people of our choice. And I do want to say, I understand the concern that Mayor Booker noted about community. I'm sorry, about the committee, but I do want to take this just a few moments because we want to move on to the crux of our meeting for this evening to remind the community that community advisory committees are at the discretion of the board and at the discretion of the superintendent. And while we truly value the input, it is a committee that is able to make recommendations, but they do not make decisions on behalf of the district. That is etched in from our national organization all the way down to our state organization. And it's not just in the state of Ohio, it's across the board. We welcome the committees because we do value the diverse input that committee members bring to the board. But again, they do not have the power to make any decision on behalf of this school district. Those final decisions are left to the 5 individuals that are seated on the board that were elected to the board by the community to vet all aspects of all information and make final yay or nay votes. So with that, I do thank everyone for coming to the table prepared to discuss this tonight. I thank and respect everyone for your thoughts and comments. I'm thankful to Mayor Booker for coming forward and sharing his concerns. I do hope that the board's conversation tonight has helped the community at large understand the process that we follow. The board has voted and approved, and we're going to move forward as we stand, and then we will work together to determine names for the different wings and rooms in the new elementary school. And at that point in time, honestly, it's the kids' school. So it would be awesome if once they're in the school that they can make the choices of the names, help with some of the recommendations of names for the different rooms and wings in that school, because they may come up with stuff that we would never think of. These are the little people that are in that room absorbing all that our educators have to give them. So thank you so much for a good conversation today. I really, really and truly appreciate it. With that, we are going to go into executive session. So may I have a motion on the floor, please, that will take us into executive session. At this time, the board members themselves, the 5 of us, will go into a breakout room for our discussion. And at the conclusion of that discussion, we will come back into the board meeting and wrap our meeting up, because again, tonight's meeting was supposed to be to go into executive session for one topic, and we decided to broaden it for this particular conversation for tonight. So if I may have a motion to move us into executive session, please.
Madam Chair, I move that this board go into executive session for the purpose of conducting an executive session to consider the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, or demotion for compensation of an employee, licensee or student, unless the employee, official, licensee, or student requests a public hearing.
Thank you. May I have a second?
A second.
It's been moved and properly second. Dr. Rock, can you please call the roll?
Mrs. Moomin,
Yes.
Mr. Roberts,
He's on mute.
You're on mute.
He's on mute.
Yes, sorry about that.
No, you're okay.
Mrs. Gator,
Yes.
Mr. Freeman,
Yes.
Miss Mitchell.
Yes. At this time, we're going to go into executive session. Dr. Rock and Mr. Jolly, if at this time you guys would like to exit the meeting, we do thank you for being here. Have a wonderful evening, and I'm sure throughout the course of the day tomorrow, we'll be in touch.
Yeah.
Okay.
You all
Have a
take
great
care.
evening.
And
Bye.
Kayla, can you move us into the, there we go, the breakout room? Thank you. Kayla, can you please take down the sign? We're back. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
All righty. So oops, I lost us. At this time, that's all we had on for this evening's agenda. May I have a motion for us to adjourn tonight's meeting.
Madam Chair, I move that we adjourn tonight's special meeting, May 28th, 2020.
Thank you.
And I second.
Thank you. It's been moved and properly seconded. Again, thank you all for giving this evening to us. It was very good discussion, and I'll be in touch with everybody soon. Have a wonderful, wonderful evening. If I don't talk to you, have a great weekend and stay safe out there, please.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.